build systems before you get burnt. I see so many contractors kind of confused or not understand the importance of systemizing their business. They typically know that it's important, it's something they need to do. You've probably taken a few steps in the right direction, but kind of get lazy or complacent, busy, all these other things, and you get stuck inside your business wearing all the hats. And it essentially stops you from growing and can kill your business because you grow too big, your systems, your foundation isn't there, the business falls over. Or like a lot of builders I've heard about, don't grow a big business, just keep small because it's easier to manage. But in reality, it's harder to manage a small business. It's easier to manage a large business because you can have your managers, you can have your organization structure, but you need the systems, that foundation in order to get there. Building proper systems is not easy. It can take months to build out certain systems in your business, and it'll take at least 1 to 2 years with guided help to fully systemize a construction business. It's a big undertaking, which is why a lot of people don't do it. For every client that we work with, we focus very heavily and help them build out systems in their construction company. We build them for our clients using very unique methods that we use to help them scale. And that's how we have a nearly 100% success rate. Now, listen closely because I'm going to give you a very succinct method to build systems in your business. This is the kind of the shortest, easiest way to build out systems and get the best results for implementation, because it's not just about building the system, it's about implementing and getting your people to actually use it. So the acronym is MAPS, and the first M is for map. You need to map out your business. You want to identify the different roles in your business. So foreman, project manager, laborers, carpenters, bookkeeper, director of marketing or sales, estimating. So there's all these different areas, these different functions of your business. You want to map that out. What does your business look like? Org charts are great for this because you can specifically see what are all the positions in the business and what are the big systems around it. You know, we might have project management software, different softwares. So you just need to get that all on paper and have it in front of you so you have some sort of organization. And then once you've identified sort of what the business looks like, or all the different areas that you have in your business, you want to then look at what are the gaps. So you may find out that, hey, we don't have anybody who's actually responsible for putting out social media content, or we don't have anybody who is responsible for calling past due invoices for clients who haven't paid yet or are late on payments, right? You'll start to figure out when you put tasks and people in the right places that there's going to be gaps. There could be overlap too, where it's like, hey, the site manager's ordering materials, but the project manager's also ordering materials. Who should be doing what? How is this responsible? You'll just from mapping everything out, you'll get some clarity around what your business looks like, and you'll start to discover like why things aren't working the way that they should be very quickly. After map, then you want to align. So the alignment process of systemizing a business is you need to build alignment between your people and in the roles. And the best way to do this is go talk with them. So if you've got a project manager, you've identified the project management position, what the different tasks that they do. You need to go talk to them. What do you normally do in a day? What are the tasks? What are the issues that you encounter? If you could change anything about your job, what would you change? What do you feel does work well? What doesn't work well? By doing this, they feel like they're part of the process because you want buy-in from your team. If you just come to them with like, here's the new system, here's the SOP, I want you to follow every single little dotted line and check box every little checkbox, they're going to be like, whatever, man, like forget it, right? They might give you a little bit of face value of like, yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, it's not going to get done. If you've worked through this with them and they're part of building these systems, at least by giving feedback or like working through the process, you've aligned with them and the rest of it, the implementation is going to be so much easier. So align with your people and then align the process. What do you do on a project? What do you do when you need to start the new project? Well, we need to order materials. We need to get the site signs up. We need to call the sub-trades. We need to organize the site labor, so on and so forth. So you're not looking to get finalized like SOPs or perfect processes. You want the big steps. What's the big pieces of the puzzle so that you've got some sort of trajectory of like, this is what that position holds and this is the alignment that we have. Next one is prioritize. So we're doing map. So prioritized is the P, because if you start to build systems across your business or try to fix every little leak, you're in for a rough time and you're going to be stuck at square one, base one forever. You need to prioritize. Okay, we've aligned everything. You have now like a really good map of your business. What is the most pressing, urgent, important part I need to fix right now? And typically this is going to be tied to either revenue or a major pain point or thing that you need to delegate and get off of your plate. So often something to do with marketing or estimating are usually pretty high priorities early on. But for you, it could be HR. If you have a real hard time bringing in good employees, or you've got all these projects you need to, bring in better later, find new subcontractors, then maybe you focus there. Choose your top 3 systems. So not just areas like estimating, but top 3 specific things. So if you've identified estimating, okay, well, got old, outdated pricing, half of it's missing, and we need to improve that, right? Other thing might be we have no review process. We don't even know like how much we made on a project. We need to figure out, the job costing. So identify very specific, smaller systems inside the bigger functions or rules of your business. Now you've prioritized your top 3. You're going to pick the top 1 to work on, and then you've got to systemize. So the first 3 steps to building systems, you don't start actually building the system till the last step, which is systemize. This is where you've identified the priority, you've aligned everything. Now you build out the system. All right, so we're tackling the cost database. What do we need to get into place? Well, we need to get pricing from suppliers, or we need to connect with an online pricing database that we can pull pricing from. We need to figure out how much additional fudge factor are we going to have on our pricing, right? Because nothing is perfect. And then we're going to build that out. And then what's the next part of estimating? Well, we don't have any good templates for this type of project. So we've got to build that out, right? So build out that system, and then you're going to document it. Here's the operating procedure, how you do an estimate. Well, you pull up the template, you use the pricing database, you check the scope of work, you do the takeoff from the plans, right? So that's when you're going to build out the training materials, which is typically a document plus maybe a video. Videos are great for people. And once you've done that, you'll find things that don't work in the system or need to be changed because the wording is wrong, or maybe they missed a step, or it's not the right kind of thing that you want to put into place. You work out a few kinks, then you build the training materials around it. Because if you build the training materials too early, you're going to have to do them again once you change the system. Now you've got a high functioning system, you've got training materials, you can then delegate. And the last final piece to any good system is the accountability section. Who is responsible for getting this done? Who is accountable for checking that it was done? Those are 2 different things. So a site manager might be responsible for ordering certain types of material. The project manager is accountable for the material being correct and showing up on site on time. Something like that, where you've got, it might be the same person who's responsible and accountable, but typically the more junior person is going to be doing the work. Your laborers are responsible for actually framing up the wall. The site manager is accountable that the wall is level, squared, has the right size of windows, all of that kind of stuff, right? So, and by giving those 2 pieces, now you have a complete functioning system with accountability that you don't have to be the center of and you don't have to deal with because you built it out, and life is a wonderful thing.